Jim Lorimer, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, this is, I think, one of the best turnouts we've had for this particular program. Maybe it's because we started a little later this year, which is a good idea, especially with daylight saving time coming in like it did. But this is also one of my most favorite meetings of the weekend, because you are the truly dedicated. And the fact that normally you are up very late for that party and still can get up for a seminar on Sunday morning is very much appreciated. This is the greatest weekend we have had. And Arnold and I have been partners, as you know, for about 40 years. But each year it has grown, and our commitment has always to do better than our previous best. And we have now the largest multi-sport event in the world you're participating in, with bodybuilding, which is your main focus, still remaining at the center. And as you know too, what we've been doing here in Columbus, Ohio, has attracted the attention of many other continents, and we are going to be having 4 Arnold Sports Festivals on 4 continents this year. This time next week we'll be sitting in Australia, in Melbourne. And then in 2016, we will be on all 6 continents. We're going to Johannesburg, South Africa. And Asia is still a very interesting challenge, because Asia is such a great opportunity for us. We've been to Beijing, we've been to Singapore, we've been to Japan. We have a team of a dozen people in here this week from Malaysia all on board. But that decision will conclude for us for a 2016 event, which will be all of the continents. Unless one of you would like to lead in Antarctica. But I want to thank again you all for the dedication you have this weekend, and also for maybe following us around the world a little bit. And I know many of you do that. We're going to have a great program today. Bob Cicherillo is a master ceremony. He knows this sport inside and out, and he will be leading you through a number of great interviews. Arnold should be in here shortly. He's just finished and started the race this morning. I think we had another couple of thousand people out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to begin for Jim Lorimer. I'm going to begin for the governor himself, the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, you always got to sit on the pillow. Now I'm shorter than you.
You can put the pillow down. I'm not why do you have pillows in the first place?
I don't know.
They're there. I didn't put them there.
Who's in charge of pillows here?
Anyways, it's great to be here. Good to have you again. And
thank you, sir.
Ask the questions. And then I hope we get some good, interesting questions from the audience. I know there's a lot of hungry eyes out there. And I hope that you enjoyed the events the last few days. I thought that it was extraordinary to see the amount of people that came this year. And what was really amazing about it was that if you think about the obstacles that so many people faced, because when you watch the news, the kind of snowstorms that we have had all around here. And it's a miracle that we don't have a snowstorm right here, because they predicted one. And then to see on the news people getting, getting stopped, and they were caught in traffic jams. And I remember this one couple, as I was mentioning just 2 days ago, this one couple was interviewed, and they said they're on the way to the Arnold Classic, and they were stuck in Kentucky. They had 24 hours, you know, literally nothing moved, but they luckily had enough food in their car, and their car fueled up. They had enough gas in the car and everything, so they didn't, I mean, they minded obviously, but they didn't really mind that they maybe ran out of gas, or they ran out of food or something like that, so they didn't have those kind of problems. But they made it here. I met the couple yesterday, right after the competition was over. Yeah, I wanted to say thank you for your perseverance. It was really great. And this was just one couple. There's many, many people. We have heard many stories of what it took people to get here. And so I just want to say thank you to all of you for, you know, hanging in there. And even with that, and we have had more people show up than ever before. And we had more companies displaying their goods, their products than ever before. We had up until now 900 booths. Now we had over 1,200 booths. And you know, we've got 2 areas where they have, you know, all of the different events. And like Jim was saying, that, you know, he and I, we were like amazed last week when we talked just before I came here. And we talked about sports and activities that we have. You know, there's like 56 different activities and sports that we have, and you know, from 80 different countries. So it's really become a really huge international event, and without any doubt the biggest, you know, sports and fitness competition, and also, you know, right along with the Olympia, the biggest bodybuilding competition of the year. So we're very happy about that, and I think our trick is to under-promise and to over-deliver. That's always been our model.
Well, you just answered my first 4 questions, so any questions for me? First year down at the Veterans. Now you obviously go way back, 1970, you were actually on the Veterans stage, winning the Mr. World competition. Jim Morgan, the promoter of that show. We talked about that before, where you were coming from London the night before, chartered the private jet, got in and won the competition. Your thoughts, Arnold, on the first year of not in the vet, the little piece in the heart kind of going when they were taking that down?
Well, I thought it was really a shame to lose the Veterans Memorial Auditorium, because it was, for me, you know, real history. It was the first Mr. World competition that I've ever won, and it also represented a very important year, because my goal was, as I got into bodybuilding and into bodybuilding competition, and I started winning Mr. Olympia, I should say Mr. Universe and Mr. Europe and all those competitions, that there was a magic 3, and that was the Mr. World, the Mr. Universe, and the Mr. Olympia. And no one ever won it in 1 year, all 3, for various different reasons. You know, not just because they weren't good enough to win all 3, but also logistically, you know, that sometimes the weightlifting championships of the world are in such a strange place somewhere in the world that bodybuilders maybe wouldn't travel there, or, you know, the times are too far apart that when the competitions are organized. In this particular case, in 1970, they had the Mr. Universe contest on a Saturday, as they always do, the 3rd week in September. And on Sunday, the day after, was the Mr. World competition here, because the World Championships in weightlifting were over on Sunday, and then right after that, they had the World Championship in bodybuilding, the Mr. World competition, by the International Weightlifting Federation. So this was the interesting thing. There was 3 different federations. So I won the Mr. Universe, I think for the 5th time in London. And right after that, I came over here because Jim Norma and his organizing committee organized a private jet from New York. Otherwise, we wouldn't have made the connection. So this is where I realized what kind of a good organizer he is. So they organized a private jet, and I was able to come here on Sunday, late afternoon, for the competition, for the Mr. World competition. And I won that. And it was the first year I beat Sergio Liver. And Sergio and I, we were good friends. I stayed with him in Chicago the year before, 1969, with him and his wife. We trained together for 1 week. He was a wonderful host, a good friend, and we both kind of had one big thing in common besides bodybuilding. We both were immigrants. He was an immigrant from Cuba. I was an immigrant from Austria, Germany. And so we talked about that and the opportunities that America gives us and all this. And so, you know, we had a great time. But I mean, it was very important. He was the Mr. Olympia in 1969 and I stayed with him. So it was very important for me to watch exactly the way he trains, the way he lives, the way he eats, what he does, how much he poses, how much training he puts into this, what his fire in the belly is still, in all those things. And the bottom line was that in 1970, here in Columbus, Ohio, I won the world competition against him, which I then knew with that I could go and get the momentum to New York, and where the Mr. Olympia was 2 weeks later, and then I won the Mr. Olympia against him also. So this is why it was a very magic year, a very important year. And so to win this Mr. World competition in Columbus, Ohio, at the Veterans Memorial, was just really a fantastic feeling that made me go to Jim Lorman and say, I want to be your partner when I retire from bodybuilding and when I'm finished competing, which I did in 1975. So to see it being torn down, this historic building, it breaks my heart. There's no two ways about that. But I also understand that my vision and what breaks my heart doesn't always mean that, you know, people that live here in Columbus and the business community and the people that are planning out the city, you know, have the same feeling about all this. And, you know, they have big plans. They have fantastic plans. It's going to be a whole new area there and a whole new development, and we will get a new big auditorium here in Columbus. So, you know, times move on, and so I realized that, so that's why we are more interested in working with everyone here, with the private sector, the public sector, and, you know, all the officials from Columbus. And so we go along with that plan, and we're looking forward to a new auditorium, of course.
You know, you could have just bought it.
You know, that would have been easy, but I think that nobody was interested in selling. I think the city was very happy with, you know, the leaders and the business leaders to just, you know, invest in that project. And it's a huge area down there where the Veterans Memorial is. And I think this whole area will be developed, not just the area, not just the property of the Veterans Memorial, but the whole area. So in a few years from now, you're going to see something really gigantic, something very beautiful.